Don't walk in with me. They'll think it's weird, she said as we parked outside her office party. I stopped the car and let her out. She laughed, called me sensitive, and went inside. I drove home, packed my clothes, and left a note. Didn't want to make it weird. She came home late, tipsy and smiling. Found the empty closet and started calling me crying. I, 28, male, sat in my car outside the Meridian Hotel, engine running, watching my girlfriend Sarah walk through the glass doors alone. 2 hours later, I was in a different hotel room across town, and she was calling me 17 times in a row. We had been together for 2 years. We shared an apartment, split the bills, talked about getting a dog. I thought I knew where we stood. I thought we were building something real. But that night, parked outside her company holiday party, Sarah turned to me and said the words that ended it all. Don't walk in with me. They'll think it's weird. I stopped the car. The valet was already approaching. Sarah laughed, light and casual, like she had just made a joke about the weather. You're being too sensitive, she said, already opening her door. It's just easier this way. She stepped out, smoothed her dress, and walked inside without looking back. The valet asked if I was staying. I said no and pulled away from the curb. What Sarah didn't know was that I had been adding things up for weeks. The way she never posted photos of us. The way she introduced me as her friend to her boss at the grocery store. The way her coworkers didn't know my name, even though we had been together for 2 years. I drove home in complete silence. No music, no podcast, just the sound of my turn signal clicking at every intersection. By the time I pulled into our apartment complex, I had made my decision. I walked into our bedroom and pulled my suitcase from the closet. I packed my clothes, my laptop, my charger, and the watch my father gave me. I took my name off the lease 6 months ago when Sarah said she wanted to build her credit, so legally, I was already gone. I just hadn't moved my body yet. I left my key on the kitchen counter next to a note I wrote on the back of a grocery receipt. Didn't want to make it weird. Then I checked into a Comfort Inn 20 minutes away, turned off my phone, and went to sleep. Sarah came home just after midnight. I know because when I turned my phone back on the next morning, I had 43 missed calls, 18 voicemails, and 62 text messages. The first voicemail was light. Confused. Hey, where are you? Did you go to bed early? The second one was panicked. Why is your closet empty? What's going on? By the 7th voicemail, she was crying. Please call me back. I don't understand. We can talk about this. I deleted them all without listening to the rest. Looking back, the red flags were everywhere. I just kept telling myself I was overthinking. We met at a mutual friend's barbecue in the summer 2 years ago. Sarah worked in marketing for a mid-sized tech company downtown. I worked in logistics for a shipping firm on the west side. We weren't in the same industry, but we got along. She was funny, sharp, ambitious. I liked that about her. She seemed genuine. 3 months in, we moved in together. Her lease was ending. Mine had 2 months left, and it made sense financially. We found a 1-bedroom in a decent part of town for $1,200 a month. I handled the deposits. She handled the utilities setup. It felt like teamwork. It felt like progress. But small things started feeling off around the 6-month mark. She threw a housewarming party and invited 12 people. I knew 3 of them. The rest were her coworkers and college friends. I spent the evening making small talk with strangers in my own living room. When her boss showed up, a tall guy named Richard who worked in upper management, Sarah introduced me as my roommate. I was standing right next to her, holding a beer, wearing the shirt she had bought me for my birthday. Oh, this is my roommate, she said, gesturing vaguely in my direction. Richard shook my hand and asked how long I had lived there. I said 3 months. He nodded and moved on to talk to someone else. I pulled Sarah aside later that night after everyone left. Why did you call me your roommate? She was loading the dishwasher, her back to me. Did I? I don't remember. You did. In front of your boss. She turned around, annoyed. Okay. Well, I don't want to mix work and personal life. It's not a big deal. I dropped it, but it sat heavy in my chest for days. Then it happened again at the gym 3 weeks later. We ran into her coworker Jenna by the water fountain. Jenna was friendly, smiley, the kind of person who remembered everyone's name. She waved when she saw Sarah. Hey, I didn't know you came to this gym. Sarah smiled back. Yeah, just started last month. Jenna looked at me. Oh, hi. Are you Sarah's boyfriend? There was a pause. A small one. Maybe 2 seconds. But I felt it. This is my friend, Sarah said. We work out together sometimes. Jenna smiled politely and said it was nice to meet me. After she walked away, I asked Sarah why she said that. Said what? That I'm your friend. She sighed, like I was exhausting her. Because it's easier than explaining our whole relationship to someone I barely know. Why does it matter? I didn't have a good answer. So I let it go. Then came the social media thing. Sarah posted constantly. Brunch photos with her girlfriends. Gym selfies in the mirror. Weekend trips to the beach. Her feed was a highlight reel of her life. But I was never in it. Not once. I wasn't the kind of guy who needed constant validation online, but after a year, it started to feel deliberate. I asked her about it one night while we were watching TV. How come you never post pictures of us? She didn't look away from the screen. I like to keep my relationship private. It's more meaningful that way. It sounded reasonable. I let it go. But then I started noticing her coworkers didn't know basic things about me. One time, her team went out for happy hour on a Thursday, and she invited me along. I met them at a bar downtown. A guy named Derek, who Sarah had mentioned 100 times, asked what I did for work. Logistics, I said. Supply chain management. He looked surprised. Oh, I thought you were in grad school or something. I glanced at Sarah. She was scrolling through her phone. No, I said. I've been working in logistics for 5 years. Derek nodded slowly. Huh, weird. I could have sworn Sarah said you were studying. Later that night, I asked Sarah where he got that idea. She shrugged. I don't know. Maybe I mentioned you were thinking about it. I had never mentioned grad school to her. Not once. The final straw before the party happened 2 weeks earlier. Sarah's company did a team-building weekend at a cabin upstate. Employees could bring a +1. Spouses, partners, significant others. The email specifically said so. She didn't invite me. I found out when I saw the email confirmation on her laptop. She had left it open on the kitchen table. Hey, I said, walking into the living room. I saw the email about the cabin trip. She looked up from her phone. Oh yeah, it's just a work thing. It said you could bring a +1. She hesitated. Just for a second. I know, but I think it would be too coupley. I want to focus on networking. I stared at her. Networking. Yeah, you know, building relationships with the team. It's important for my career. I wanted to ask why bringing me would interfere with that. I wanted to ask if she was embarrassed of me, but I didn't. I just nodded and went back to the kitchen. I was trying not to be that guy. The insecure guy. The guy who needed constant validation. The guy who made everything about him. But sitting in that parking lot 2 weeks later, watching her walk into the party like I didn't exist, I realized I wasn't being insecure. I was being erased. The holiday party was supposed to be different. Sarah had been talking about it for weeks. She bought a new dress from Nordstrom, deep green with a gold belt. She got her nails done. She scheduled a blowout appointment for that afternoon. She was excited. And I was excited too. I thought maybe this was finally my chance to meet her work friends properly. To be introduced as her boyfriend. To feel like I was part of her life instead of a shadow in the background. We got ready together that evening. I wore a dark blazer and a light blue button-down shirt. She wore the green dress and gold heels. We looked good together. I even took a photo of us in the mirror before we left, her leaning back against me, both of us smiling. It was the last photo we would ever take together. The drive to the hotel was normal. We talked about her boss, about the open bar, about how her team was probably going to get too drunk and embarrass themselves. She seemed happy, relaxed. She even reached over and squeezed my hand at a red light. Thanks for coming with me, she said. I squeezed back. Of course. But when I pulled up to the valet stand at the Meridian, her whole energy shifted. She looked at the entrance, then at me, then back at the entrance. Her smile faded. She checked her phone, adjusted her seatbelt. Hey, she said, her voice suddenly careful. Would you mind if I went in first? I frowned. What do you mean? She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. Just like, don't walk in with me. People might think it's weird. The valet was standing 10 feet away, waiting. A couple walked past us, laughing, arm in arm. Weird how? I asked. She laughed, waving her hand like I was overreacting. You know, like, why is there a random guy here? It's a work thing. I just don't want it to be awkward. The words hit me like cold water. Random guy? I had been with this woman for 2 years. I paid half the rent every month, $600 on the first, never late. I bought groceries. I cooked dinner 3 nights a week. I fixed the leaking sink in our bathroom with a YouTube tutorial and a wrench I bought at Home Depot. I listened to her complain about Derek from accounting for 6 months straight. And I was a random guy. Sarah, I said slowly. I'm your boyfriend. She sighed, already opening the car door. I know. And you're being too sensitive about this. It's not a big deal. I'll see you inside in like 10 minutes. She stepped out. The valet opened her door fully. She smoothed her dress, checked her reflection in the car window, and walked toward the entrance without looking back. I sat there for 15 seconds, hands still on the wheel, engine still running. Then I put the car in drive and left. I didn't speed. I didn't blast music. I didn't call anyone. I just drove home in complete silence, the same route we took every day, past the same coffee shop where we got breakfast on Sundays, past the same park where we walked last spring, and felt something inside me go completely still. It wasn't anger. It wasn't even sadness. It was clarity. I had been making excuses for her for 2 years. I had convinced myself that her behavior was quirky, or private, or just her way of keeping boundaries. I had told myself that some people just didn't like public displays of affection, that some people valued privacy over social media validation. But the truth was simpler and sharper. She was ashamed of me. Maybe not in some cruel, intentional way. Maybe she didn't even realize it herself. But the pattern was undeniable. I was good enough to split rent with, good enough to sleep next to, good enough to fix things when they broke and listen when she needed to vent, but not good enough to be seen with. I parked in our usual spot, number 14B, and walked up to the apartment. The living room still smelled like her perfume, something floral and expensive. Her shoes were by the door, the black heels she wore to work. The coffee mug I bought her for her birthday, the one with her favorite quote on it, sat on the counter, still half full. I walked into the bedroom and pulled my suitcase from the top shelf of the closet. I packed quickly and methodically. Clothes, toiletries, laptop, charger, my running shoes, the book on my nightstand. I didn't take anything that belonged to both of us. No dishes, no furniture, no picture frames, no books we had bought together at the used bookstore downtown. I left my key on the kitchen counter next to the coffee mug and wrote one sentence on the back of a CVS receipt. Didn't want to make it weird. Then I walked out, locked the door behind me, and left the key in the slot. I checked into a Comfort in off Highway 9. The clerk, a tired-looking woman in her 50s, didn't ask questions. I paid in cash for 3 nights and went up to room 214. I sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the blank wall, and turned off my phone. For the first time in 2 years, I felt completely alone. And it felt better than being invisible. Update 1. I turned my phone back on at 7 the next morning. The screen lit up, and I watched the notifications load one by one. 43 missed calls. All from Sarah. 18 voicemails. 62 text messages. I made coffee in the tiny hotel pot, the kind that comes in individual packets, and started reading. The first few texts were confused. Where are you? Did you leave the party? Are you mad? Text me back. Then they shifted. I just got home. Your closet is empty. What is going on? Did you actually leave? Are you serious right now? Then came the panic. Please call me. I don't understand why you would do this. We need to talk about this like adults. The voicemails were worse. I played the first one on speaker while I drank my coffee. Her voice was small, confused, almost childlike. Hey, it's me. I just got home and I don't know where you are. Your stuff is gone. Did something happen? Call me back. The second one was louder, sharper. Seriously, where are you? Your closet is empty. Your toothbrush is gone. Did you leave? Why didn't you say anything? This is crazy. By the 7th voicemail, she was crying. I'm sorry, okay? I don't know what I did, but I'm sorry. Just please come home so we can talk. Please. I deleted them all without finishing the rest. Then I blocked her number. I spent the rest of the day at a diner 2 blocks from the hotel, a place called Rosie's with red vinyl booths and waitresses who refilled your coffee without asking. I ordered pancakes and scrolled through apartment listings on my phone. I had been paying $600 a month for 2 years, which meant I had been building savings without realizing it. I could afford a studio, maybe even a 1-bedroom if I stayed out of the downtown area. By that evening, I had scheduled 3 apartment viewings for the next day. My phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. It was Sarah, texting from her work phone. I know you blocked me. Please just talk to me. I don't understand why you're doing this. What did I do that was so bad? I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed one sentence. You wanted me to not make it weird. I didn't. I blocked that number too. Update 2. 3 days later, I signed a lease on a studio apartment in a quiet neighborhood called Maplewood, 20 minutes from my job. It was small, for 100 square feet, with a kitchenette and a bathroom the size of a closet. But it had hardwood floors and big windows that let in morning light. It was clean. It was affordable. It was mine. I moved in with 2 suitcases and a futon I bought off Facebook Marketplace for $80. The guy who sold it helped me load it into my car and asked if I was moving to the city. I said no, just starting over. He nodded like he understood. It wasn't much, but it was the first place I had lived alone in 2 years, and it felt like freedom. Sarah kept trying. She called from different numbers. She sent emails, long ones, full of questions and apologies and accusations. She said she didn't understand what she had done wrong. She said I was overreacting. She said we had built a life together and I was throwing it away over nothing. I read them once and archived them without responding. Then, exactly 1 week after I left, she showed up at my job. I saw her from the building entrance, standing by my car in the parking lot, arms crossed, hair pulled back. She looked tired, angry. I turned around immediately and walked back inside. I texted my supervisor that I had a family emergency and worked from home the rest of the week. Her emails got more desperate. I don't understand why you won't talk to me. You just left without explanation. Don't I deserve to know what I did wrong? I almost responded to that one. Almost typed out everything I had been holding in for 2 years. But I didn't. Because the truth was, she already knew. She had known every time she introduced me as her roommate. Every time she posted a photo without me. Every time she kept me separate from her work life. She knew. She just didn't think I would leave. Then, 2 weeks after I moved out, I got a message from Jenna, Sarah's co-worker from the gym. Hey, I heard you guys broke up. I just wanted to say I'm sorry. For what it's worth, I always thought Sarah was weird about you. She literally never mentioned having a boyfriend until like 6 months ago, and even then she barely talked about you. Anyway, hope you're doing okay. I stared at that message for a long time. 6 months ago, we had been together for 2 years, which meant for the first year and a half, Sarah told her coworkers she was single. I thanked Jenna for reaching out and asked, as casually as I could, if she knew why Sarah kept me a secret. Her response came 10 minutes later. Honestly, I think she liked the attention. A lot of guys at work used to flirt with her. When she finally mentioned you, it kind of stopped. I think she liked being the single girl. It sounds harsh, but that's just what I noticed. I read that message 3 times. Then I closed the chat, laced up my running shoes, and went for a 6-mile run. Update 3. A month after I left, Sarah stopped trying to contact me. The emails stopped. The phone calls from random numbers stopped. I heard from our mutual friend Chris that she had moved out of the apartment and gotten a place closer to her office in the downtown area. She unfollowed me on Instagram. I did the same. I settled into my new routine. I went to work. I came home to my small studio. I cooked simple dinners, pasta and chicken and vegetables. I read books I had been meaning to read for years. I ran in the mornings before work. I existed in a space where I didn't have to wonder if I was good enough to be seen. It was quiet. It was lonely sometimes, but it was honest. One Saturday afternoon, I was at the grocery store when I ran into Richard, Sarah's old boss. He recognized me immediately. Hey, you're Sarah's boyfriend, right? Or, wait, were you the roommate? I smiled politely. Boyfriend. We broke up a few weeks ago. He looked genuinely surprised. Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. I didn't even know you two were together. She never really talked about her personal life at work. I nodded. Yeah, that was kind of the problem. He laughed awkwardly and said he hoped I was doing okay. I thanked him and moved on. But that interaction stayed with me. Even her boss didn't know we were together. After 2 years, I wasn't a secret because she valued privacy. I was a secret because she wanted to keep her options open. Final closure. It has been 4 months since I left that note on the counter. I still live in the studio in Maplewood. I bought a Real bed, a small couch, and a coffee table from IKEA. I hung up pictures. I got a plant that I somehow haven't killed yet. It's starting to feel like home. Sarah and I haven't spoken since the night I left. I heard through Chris that she's seeing someone new, a guy from her office. I didn't ask for details. I didn't want them. I don't think about her much anymore. Sometimes I see a green dress in a store window, and I remember the party. Sometimes I drive past the Meridian, and I remember sitting in that parking lot. But it doesn't sting the way it used to. A few weeks ago, I matched with someone on a dating app. Her name is Rachel. She's a 3rd-grade teacher with a dog named Biscuit. We went on 2 dates. Coffee first, then dinner at a Thai place she recommended. On the 2nd date, She posted a photo of us at the coffee shop. It was candid, both of us laughing at something I don't even remember. She tagged me in it. I stared at that post for a long time. It was such a small thing. A photo. A tag. Public acknowledgement that I existed. But it felt like proof that I was real. That I mattered. I liked the photo. She smiled when she saw the notification. Is that okay? She asked. I can take it down if you want. I didn't think to ask first. I shook my head. No. It's perfect. She reached across the table and squeezed my hand. Good. Because I'm kind of proud to be seen with you. I felt something crack open in my chest. Something warm. Yeah, I said. Me too. I still think about that night sometimes. Sitting in the car outside the Meridian. Watching Sarah walk through those glass doors like I was disposable. Feeling like I was supposed to shrink myself to fit into the corners of her life. But I didn't shrink. I left. And 4 months later, I'm sitting in a coffee shop with someone who wants the world to know I exist. Some people will tell you that love is about compromise, about meeting in the middle, about understanding each other's boundaries. And maybe that's true. But it's also true that you should never have to beg someone to be proud of you. You should never have to wonder if you're good enough to be introduced. You should never feel like a secret in your own relationship. I learned that in a parking lot outside a hotel, watching someone I loved pretend I didn't exist. I drove home that night, packed my things, and walked away from 2 years of being invisible. And I have never looked back.